Am I the a-hole for being upset with my sister for wanting to skip my wedding because of her miscarriage? I, female 28, am getting married next week. Invitations are out, wedding planning was complete, and everything is going according to plan. However, my sister, female 31, just had a miscarriage, and mom told me that she told her she decided not to come to the wedding. I was dumbfounded, so I called my sister to talk about it, and she said she is exhausted and doesn't feel like attending. I told her that this is my wedding, not some family dinner she and her husband decided to skip. She apologized, hoping that I'd understand, but I said that I don't, because I really don't understand. What does her miscarriage has to do with being at my wedding? It's not like she gave birth and needed to stay with a baby. She must have had me on speaker because her husband heard and started scolding me about how this is a traumatic experience that my sister just went through, and said that I was insensitive to talk to her like that. I asked him to stay out of it, but he started arguing, telling me to respect my sister's wish and respect that they're grieving. I insisted to let me talk to her, but he said we were done talking. I ended up losing my temper with him, and he told me, "F you and your wedding," then hung up. My fiancé was in the room and heard him say that. He wanted to uninvite him and my sister over this instantly, but I didn't let him. I called mom and she promised to speak to my sister and convinced her to come. My dad called me later on and started berating me about harassing my sister and told me to leave her alone. I asked him if my brother-in-law told him about our fight, but he got defensive and told me to get off both my sisters at her husband's back and drop it. I told him how upset and hurt I was that my sister decided to skip my wedding, and how little she thought of it. He replied that my sister has a valid reason and I was coming across and feeling and selfish not to see that, and lash out over her missing a party. This is not a party. That's my wedding. It matters to me. I was there for hers. Why can't she do the same and show up for a few hours? Dad said he won't tell me again to leave my sister alone. It urged me to stop bringing it up and gang up with mom to get my sister to go, but I wasn't doing that. Long story short, tension has been taking over since then. Mom thinks that a calm discussion will do, but I feel like my feelings are ignored and misunderstood, especially for my sister. Edited to add, I love my sister. I get her struggle, but I wanted her there because I care about her. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. You have no idea what it's like to be carrying life and hope inside your body, then to lose all that to forces outside of your control. People need time to collect their composure and grieve. The world doesn't revolve around you, and you're certainly not a person worth gravitating towards. F your wedding. This 100%. I can't believe she said it's not like you have a baby to stay home and take care of. Just wow. Yes, that was pouring salt in an open, gaping wound. Your baby's dead, so you're free, right? What's the big deal? You're the a-hole for having this attitude. I know those weren't your words, but it's an accurate paraphrase. You could easily have said, I understand that you are hurting right now, but I would really appreciate it if you would still come to the ceremony. You don't even have to stay for the reception, but it would mean a lot to me to have you there. But if the answer is still no, then you're the a-hole for not taking no for an answer. You're the a-hole. It's not like she gave birth and needed to stay with a baby. I refuse to believe you could actually type those words out and somehow still convince yourself you're not a-hole here. Believe it or not, nobody owes you their presence at your wedding, for any reason. The loss of an entire future they'd already started making plans for and investing enormous amounts of emotional capital in is ample cause to say, sorry, we're not up for celebrating right now. Which is really not a thing you would think a human being with a functioning heart or brain would need explained to them. So unless you're gunning for Bridezilla of the decade, which honestly seems like it might be the goal, quit digging and go apologize. Like yesterday. I really hope she didn't say that to her sister. Bad enough to write it here, but if it was said, I would have flipped my crap. You're the a-hole. Miscarriage isn't just a day and it's done. Depending on the age of the pregnancy, she may still be bleeding, may have follow-up doctor's appointments, could require a D&C if the miscarriage is incomplete. It may have been or still be a physically painful process. And that is all without touching on the emotional aspects of a miscarriage. If she is not up to the wedding, then she's not up to it. She is having a stressful medical incident, and that is probably compounded by grief. I feel like my feelings are ignored and misunderstood, especially for my sister. This is ironic, since you have completely failed to empathize with her. If you can't attempt to understand her situation, then best thing would be for you to let it go and not talk with her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my brother my mother's engagement ring even though I agreed in the past? Me, 21 female, and my brother, 25 male, have agreed that my mom's engagement ring, 6 women in my family wore it, would be mine until he finds a girl he really wants to propose to. I agreed. Now, he has a girlfriend of 5 years and told me that he is planning to propose and would like the ring back. I immediately told no. And that's because as much as girl likes jewelry, she also likes to lose it. The amount of jewelry she lost is outstanding. I remember getting her very pretty earrings that I made myself, and she lost it like after 2 days. Of course, he got angry, so I told him that if he wants her to have that ring, he needs to give her now a random ring, and if she doesn't lose it until he proposes, he has a specific day planned. I will give it to him. He was annoyed but agreed, and well, guess what? She lost it. To be honest, I don't know how she does it. Well, I decided not to give the ring because it's a very important thing for my family, and said that if he wants to propose, he can buy another ring. I am not letting her lose it. When she finds out, she was also furious because apparently she loved the ring. She promised to keep it saved because she knows how important it is to us. I told her that I will just keep it as my wedding ring if I ever get married. I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb for not giving her a chance. Edit. She knew about the don't lose this first ring and then you will get the heirloom. Not a-hole. I think that's a pretty valid concern and reason to not want to lose a family heirloom. Yes, Opie's concerns are valid, but brother wasn't an a-hole for being pissed. The agreement was that he would eventually get the ring for his girlfriend, so Opie is pulling the rug out from under him last minute. Even a girlfriend, not an A. She was obviously promised this ring by both Opie and her boyfriend, and being careless with meaningless costume jewelry doesn't necessarily mean that girlfriend will be careless with a meaningful treasure. There isn't really a good solution, and Opie should probably just keep the ring to be on the safe side, but no a-holes here. This kind of happened in my family. My sister didn't get the heirloom ring and I did. There's some lingering resentment, but my sister is on her 4th engagement ring currently and I'm right now wearing the heirloom one. It makes sense for everyone to feel the way they did. Make a replica and gave it to her. Then if it gets lost again, you're not out much. I don't like this idea at all. Lying will only cause more problems down the road. They might find out if they ever take it to a reputable jeweler for whatever reason. Example, cleaning, resizing, appraisal. Opie will be seen as a huge a-hole. Honesty is the best route, and telling them the truth that she is too irresponsible is the best course of action. Not a-hole. She loses nothing. Are y'all sure she doesn't sell it? I don't think so. It's not that expensive, to be honest, especially the ones I made myself. And why would she sell the one she bought herself? I think it's more that she loses stuff she doesn't like. I thought the same about the earrings, but she knew the fake ring was a gateway to the heirloom. Unless plot twist, she hates the heirloom as an engagement ring but doesn't want to tell the brother and pretends to be upset. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for hiding my fiancé's ring so she had to wear the one I bought her to see her parents? My fiancé comes from a very wealthy family. She was spoiled growing up as she was the youngest and only girl. Her dad is Persian, and according to her, their culture is very big on displays of wealth and money and jewelry. She has tons of expensive jewelry from her dad and uncles, and lives a pretty lavish life. I am not doing bad, but I'm not rich. I'm currently working as a very low-level developer with a computer company, and I don't quite make software developer money yet. When I proposed to my fiancé, I had to get a ring that wasn't very lavish. Like the ring she's got as a 13-year-old girl for her birthday or better looking. I thought that shouldn't matter as much though, as the ring is the least important part of the engagement. I'm also planning to get her a much better ring when I can afford it. So she accepted, but unbeknownst to me, she hadn't been wearing it, especially around her family. She keeps an engagement ring in her car that she got herself, takes off the ring I got and wears the other ring out. I found this out on a day I had to borrow her car. I put my wallet in a console while going into the gym and saw a ring box. I know I probably shouldn't have opened it, but I did. I was able to recognize it as an engagement ring, and when I got back home, I confronted her. She said that she prefers to wear that one around family because they already are suspicious about me since I'm not rich, and she wanted to protect me from any judgment. She said that if anyone from her family saw the ring I got, they'd think I wouldn't be good enough for her. I told her I didn't care, and it made me feel bad that she didn't wear my ring. She said that she would start wearing the ring out. Come last weekend, we have a dinner. She says she has to wear the ring when we see them for my sake. I again told her I didn't care what they thought of me. We argued and she said that she was wearing the ring and that was final. So while she was in the shower, I went down to her car, swapped the rings. I drove her car to her parents' house and she looked in her console and it was my ring. We got into an argument before she finally put it on and we went inside. The night went kinda bad. Her dad grilled us about the new ring, and he said that I should have bought her a better one and laid it into me about it. Her female relatives told her that she might need to reconsider the wedding since I cannot provide. We got into a huge argument when we got home, and she told me that I ruined my reputation in their eyes now. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. I'm going to go with you're the a-hole. Your fiancé isn't materialistic. If she was, she wouldn't be marrying you knowing that you are early in your career and financially not as secure as she is used to. She got the second ring because she was trying to protect you from her family's disapproval. Your own ego wouldn't let that go. Yes, she's trying to save face so her family doesn't disapprove. Why enter the family off on the wrong foot? Is your goal for her family to dislike you? Not saying it's valid, and have her need to defend you all the time? Why make life difficult over a ring? She already said yes and is aware of your financial situation. Are you trying to force her to cut off her family because they'll be talking crap about you? What's your end goal for this? You're the a-hole. She knows her family and wanted to avoid a scene you forced her into. You're planning to buy her a much better ring when you can't afford it anyway, you said. So why are you so hurt by this? Now she really will have to reevaluate marrying you. Also, he may not care what her family thinks of him, but she's going to get the brunt of it, not him. She's going to be the one told he's not good enough. She definitely should have expressed this issue to him beforehand, but as long as she's only swapping the ring in front of the family, I get where she's coming from. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for making my mother-in-law cry? I, 26 female, and my husband, 26 male, have been together for 8 years and married for 1. We have 2 kids together and just bought a house. My mother-in-law came by to visit the other day when my husband was at work, and my youngest child, 4, was having a full-blown meltdown. My youngest son has mild autism and severe ADHD, and my mother-in-law knows this. Well, my older child, 8, lets her in, and I'm dealing with a toddler in a separate room to calm him down. My mother-in-law comes to me and sits down and starts talking. Well, I get my toddler to calm down, and she looks at me and goes, "It's a good thing you came to your senses and decided not to have any more of those." Now this instantly angered me because I had a lot of complications with my second pregnancy, and I was put under a lot of stress during this pregnancy by my husband's family because they didn't want me to be pregnant. I had my older son at 17 and he was not biologically my husband's. However, my husband has been around and raised him since he was born because his bio dad disappeared. My youngest son was supposed to be a twin, but I lost one early in the pregnancy. And during my whole pregnancy, my in-laws kept pressuring me to get my tubes tied because they didn't think I should have any more kids. Not for the medical reasons I chose to have it done. My in-laws have never liked me or approved of me because they don't like the family I come from. I calmly tell my toddler to go play with brother because I need to talk to his grandma. After he leaves, I look at her and tell her she needs to leave. She gets mad and tells me I have no right to tell her to leave because it's her son's house, not mine, and I am a stay-at-home mom with no income or credit, so only my husband's name is on the loan of the house. I am really pissed now and say, "You are being a vindictive witch." And it's funny that you tell me about how I don't need more children when you only closed up your baby factory after you've had 5 kids because you cared more about having a daughter than being a good mother. Well, she left and then later told my husband a bunch of lies, and he came home and asked me about it. I told him what happened and he believes me because he knows how his mother is. But now she is saying I am horrible and she refuses to come back till I apologize. I said then she just won't come back. But now my husband's whole family is mad at both of us for him taking my side. So am I the a-hole? Edit. This is kind of important. My mother-in-law blames me for my youngest son having autism and ADHD, even though my husband has ADHD, and told my husband that if he had just chosen to breed with good stock and picked someone she approved of, his son wouldn't be messed up. Not stay home. She refuses to come back until you apologize? Congratulations, you just won the game. So she says something rude, you take the high road and ask her to leave. So she says more rude things to which you respond in kind, deservedly so. And now she's making you out to be the bad guy. I'm so tired of these bullies with martyrdom complexes. If you can't take it, don't dish it out. Not stay whole and hope that she holds true to her ultimatum of not coming back until you apologize. Not stay home. How delightful that she is punishing you by withholding her company. Excellent outcome. But move in the meantime and leave no forwarding address. I wish it was that easy to move, but it took us over a year just to find this house. Regarding your Reddit, next time she blames you for your youngest, just point out that autism comes from the father's side. Hey everyone, here's an update as of 5 minutes ago because my husband called her this morning after I talked to him some more. He told her until she apologizes to me, she is not welcome in our house or around our kids. She has been removed from the emergency contact and pickup list at both my kids' schools. And that we will not be attending any family holidays. And that we blocked her and the rest of the family in social media so that she can't get updates about the kids or see any pictures of them. Being a teen mom is hard, no discounting that. But having a teenage boy step up to help raise a child that isn't biologically his are all but non-existent. You too clearly have something very special to have withstood hardships from such young ages and still be together. From your post, your husband sounds like a grade A stand-up guy who has your back and will do anything to protect his family. Am I the a-hole for walking out of my own birthday dinner because my girlfriend turned it into her celebration? So my 25 male birthday was last weekend. I don't usually do anything big, but this year a bunch of my friends were in town, and my girlfriend, 23 female, offered to plan something. I was genuinely excited. She made a dinner reservation at a nice place I've been wanting to try and said she had a little surprise planned. The surprise was that she invited a bunch of her friends, like 6 of them. People I barely know. One of them I actively dislike because she used to hit on me when my girlfriend and I first started dating. My girlfriend brushed it off, saying it would make things more fun and lively. Whatever, I tried to roll with it. But then at dinner, it just got worse. She spent the entire time talking to her friends. I was seated at the far end of the table next to 2 people I'd never met. She didn't even sit next to me. When the food came, they all toasted her for organizing everything and started talking about her upcoming promotion. Her best friend gave a speech about how she deserves all the happiness in the world. Not one mention of me or my birthday. No cake, no toast, no happy birthday. Nothing. I literally just sat there while everyone gushed over her for 2 hours. Eventually, I got up, paid for my portion of the meal, said I wasn't feeling well, and left. I didn't make a scene or yell. I just quietly left. Later, she texted me saying I embarrassed her in front of her friends and ruined the night. She said she tried really hard to make it special and that I was being ungrateful. A few of her friends have messaged me saying I was being immature and that it wasn't that deep. But I don't know, man. Is it crazy to think my birthday should have been at least a little about me? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before the mini update. Not the a-hole. She didn't throw you a birthday dinner. She threw herself a dinner, but decided she could kill 2 birds with 1 stone if she lied, and said it was for you. You've done nothing wrong. She didn't throw you a birthday dinner. She organized a meetup with her friends whilst you were there. Did she even invite any of your friends? She sounds horrible and only cares about herself to say she made an effort when no one even said anything to you is crazy. You handled it well and should leave her. This was not a red flag, but a red alert. Not the a-hole. Next time she brings up how you embarrassed her, why don't you tell her how much she embarrassed you? By inviting people you hardly knew or didn't even like, ignoring you and making the evening about herself. Speak up for yourself. You did nothing wrong. She's the one in the wrong. He needs to dump her ASAP. You're the a-hole if you don't dump her. She's immature and selfish. Don't forget narcissistic. Now for the mini update. We talked. She doubled down and said the dinner wasn't just about me. It was a chance to celebrate us and her hard work planning it. She admitted she didn't invite my friends because they wouldn't vibe with her circle. Still no happy birthday, no apology, just told me I was being dramatic and should be thankful she even organized something. I guess the dinner really was all about her. So yeah, I ended things. It hurts, but I know how I feel. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my girlfriend out for diagnosing me? I, male 36, have been dating Mandy, female 34, for 6 months. My place is closer to her work, so she sleeps over a few nights a week and has a key. She also finishes work earlier than I do, so she usually gets to my place before me. I have anxiety and see a therapist once a month. I manage it by maintaining routines and schedules. For example, when I get home, I feed my cat first, then wash my hands, start cooking, and then clean up. I don't expect her to do anything around my house, but I do expect her to at least put her dirty dishes in the dishwasher. When I explained this to her, she asked, "Are you autistic?" I said I didn't think so, and added that this is just basic courtesy. Even if I were autistic, I'd still expect the same. But she kept doing it. I came home again to dirty dishes all over. She uses bowls for snacks and cups for drinks. When I asked her why she didn't put them in the dishwasher, she replied, "There's that tism again. You really need to get tested." Last night, when I got home, she asked me to grab her a can of Coke. I said I'd do it after I fed my cat. She yelled, "You autistic fool. You can't even break your routine for a can of Coke. How long are you going to be in denial? Just get tested." I told her to leave. Whether I'm autistic or not is none of her business. She got mad and left. Later, she sent me a bunch of TikToks about autism, saying she was just trying to help. Was I the a-hole? I don't like my house being dirty. Not the a-hole. She wasn't trying to help you. She was gaslighting you into thinking that your reasonable requests are the result of undiagnosed autism. Asking someone to put dirty dishes in the dishwasher is an incredibly small ask. She can also grab her own can of Coke. Also, even if you are autistic, the way to deal with that isn't to call you an autistic fool. She's awful. Dump her. This woman is disgusting. What was she expecting by calling OP these names? Trying to bully him into getting tested? I don't understand the prerogative, but regardless, OP needs to dump her ASAP. Never stay with someone who calls you names. Like that's where the bar is at for this sub at this point. Also, I really am getting the ick for the girlfriend wanting to take priority over the cat. If OP is big on routines, that means the cat is also big on routines. Why is she trying to interrupt that for herself? Is she jealous of the cat? Absolutely unhinged woman, not the a-hole. Dump her. And if he does get tested, what then? Is she under some impression that there's a magic pill that makes him happy to be in a relationship with a gigantic, unempathetic, boundary-pushing a-hole? Not the a-hole. She sounds toxic AF though. Yeah, for real. Even in her imaginary world where he did have autism, why would she yell at him and call him an autistic fool for sticking to his routine? Autistic people need accommodations, not abuse. She sounds awful. Here's the deal. My partner is on the spectrum, and there are a lot of tics and quirks that come along with that. But you adapt and learn them and move on. Her attitude is more like she wanted something to be a big deal, so it justified her being right, likely because she wouldn't meet him where he asked her to, not being a slob. Next story. Am Am I the a-hole for not telling my wife my cousin is insanely wealthy? I am 31 male, my wife is 34, my cousin is 33 female, and her husband is 35. My cousin and her husband own a fairly large farm, and that is my cousin's pride and joy. Not one single person was surprised when she bought it. Her husband is a pipe welder and makes good money as well. My cousin and her husband are well known in the community and very well respected. They do a lot for the community. With all that said, when she was in her early 20s, she won a ton of money. I'm talking FU kind of money. At the moment, she has made it so all of the kids in the family, including any children I may have, will be able to go to college, and she paid for her siblings' educations. She has used it for the community, but what she's done with it hasn't even made a dent. My cousin is insanely wealthy. Her place is paid off, and her husband's income, along with the farm income, pays for pretty much everything. So the money she won isn't really touched much, other than for her charity work or if they need some sort of specialized equipment. They do have a very nice home, but if you saw them out and about, you wouldn't know it at all. They look very normal. She drives a Bronco her husband gifted her when she had her most recent baby, or the farm truck that looks like it's been to hell a few times. My wife and I have been together for 3 years and married for a year and a half. My wife is a nurse practitioner in a specialty field, so she makes very good money, and I work in aviation. I make about the same as she does. We are well off compared to most people in our area, but we aren't even close to what my cousin has. She would have been making well over what we make just from her farm and her husband's job, and the other money just makes it insane. My wife is very prideful. She likes to make sure everyone knows she made it. She has a very nice car and likes to bring up how much she makes in nearly every conversation. She always wants the best of the best, and I try to give her that. 99% of my family cannot stand my wife, but they are too nice to say anything, and I love her, so they just deal with it. Recently, another one of my cousins got married, and she got married at my rich cousin's house. They have a huge barn and a nice pond, so they basically cleaned out the barn for the wedding. It was beautiful. That was the first and only time my wife had been to my cousin's house. She always thought my cousin just had a little hobby farm, and for some reason, she thought they were poor. I didn't know she thought they were poor. Most of our vegetables, meat, and eggs come from my cousin, but I normally get it from her myself. Anyway, now my wife is pissed that I embarrassed her and says I should have told her my cousin was rich. I didn't really think about something like that. I just assumed she knew because she's from here. It's not like it was a secret. My cousin paid for all of the upgrades to the school and matched the donations for the community to build a park. There's a huge banner on the park fence for her husband's business and her farm, along with all of the other businesses that donated to it. We pass by that park all the time. It has become an argument because I pretty much told my wife she embarrassed herself and should stop treating everyone like they are poor. There are several people in our community who make as much or more than we do. She just doesn't see that, and they don't flaunt it like she does. So, am I the a-hole for not telling her? Am I the a-hole for telling her she embarrassed herself? Now for the top comments. Your cousin's financial situation is not your or your wife's business. If your wife needs to know how much money someone has before she treats them decently, you are married to an a-hole. That's the reason the rest of his family don't like her. Not the a-hole. You didn't hide your cousin's wealth. It's public knowledge. Your wife's pride and insecurity are the real issue here. You weren't wrong for not telling her, and her reaction seems more about her own issues with flaunting wealth. The wife is every bit the problem. One of my parents' friends is a professional horse girl who was able to buy and afford upkeep on $1 million ranch. It helped she had some inheritance, and a developer bought her old property off her for a nice sum, but she makes real bank on the care and keeping of horses for people. They're expensive animals. We all know it, and everyone's been out to her place. Does it really matter? No. She gets drunk on the same Mich Ultra as everyone else. On the flip side, I'm super proud of my job as a legal assistant at a big firm and love talking about it. The money I make is not what I brag about because the pay is little. Last story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to divorce my husband after he left our newborn and toddler with our teenage daughter while he went out with another woman? I feel like I need some outside perspective on a really tough situation. My husband and I have been married for 19 years, and we have 3 kids together, a 13-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. Our journey to parenthood wasn't easy. We faced a lot of fertility struggles, and my husband has been my rock through it all. That's why the situation has hit me so hard. Recently, I started thinking about divorce after I realized my husband had left our young children alone at home while he went out on what appears to be a date with another woman. It's been difficult for me to process everything, and I'm still unsure if I'm overreacting. His parents seem to think it was just a mild mistake, but I honestly find that hard to swallow. A couple of days ago, I decided to take a much-needed me day. I told my husband how I felt, and he agreed I could go out for a bit. I went out with my mom and sister for lunch, a mini shopping spree, and we even got our nails done. It was lovely to have some time to unwind. I left the house around 1 p.m., planning to be back around 6 p.m. My husband was supposed to be at home with the kids, since we didn't have anyone to babysit on short notice. While I was out, I received notifications from our Ring camera. Around 5:50 p.m., I saw something was happening at the front door. I called my husband, who assured me everything was fine and that he was just picking up pizza. I thought nothing of it, knowing he was with the kids. Fast forward to around 6 p.m. when I got another notification that he was back home. Due to the long wait at the nail salon and bad traffic, I didn't arrive home until about 8 p.m. When I got inside, I immediately noticed something was off. My husband's car was gone. I walked into the house to find my toddler playing with spit, and my newborn was crying uncontrollably. My teenage daughter was in tears because she couldn't calm the baby down. I quickly took the baby, changed her, fed her, and got her to bed, checking in with my daughter to see what happened. She told me she didn't know where her dad was, but that he had told her to watch the kids because he had something important to do. I comforted her and reassured her that it was a big task for her to handle alone. I felt awful she had been put in that situation. My husband finally came home around 10 p.m., looking somewhat drunk. When I asked where he had been, he casually claimed he was with his wife and having a good time. It felt like a slap in the face. He took off his pants and acted as if everything was normal, completely dismissing what had just happened. The next day, when I confronted him about his absence, he lied and said he fell asleep at 7:35 p.m. I was furious and called him out for being dishonest, insisting I knew he had been out with another woman. I reached out to my mother-in-law and my own mom for advice, trying to gain some perspective. My mother-in-law minimized it, saying it was a common mistake for men and that I needed to move on for the kids' sake. You know, they need their father at home. I've been doing a lot of soul-searching since that day. Part of me wants to fight for our marriage, to believe we can work through this rough patch. However, another part of me is devastated and feels that I deserve better. I think about filing for divorce, seeking child support, and pursuing full custody of the kids so I can provide them with a stable environment. So here I am, wondering if I'm being the a-hole for even considering divorce. Am I overreacting? Should I be more forgiving because of our history? Or am I justified in wanting to leave this relationship for the happiness and safety of myself and my children? Am I the a-hole? He's cheating on you. Left the kids and came home drunk, lied about screwing around, and you wonder if you should leave him? Yes, also please get tested for STDs. Drunk dudes aren't careful about wearing protection. Not the a-hole. I always wonder how, should I leave my cheating spouse, is even a question. I get there can be extenuating circumstances which may lead people to question, but damn, they cheat and lie. What is there to save? He can't even be honest with OP. Cheating isn't a mistake, it is a choice. OP, your kids can still have their dad in their lives. It's called co-parenting. He doesn't have to live with them 24/7 to be a present parent. It's BS that you are told to suck it up and allow him to disrespect you. You allow it now? He learns it's okay. Also, staying together isn't necessarily what's best for the kids. as your marriage is the example they will have for their future relationships. They will learn it's either okay to cheat or to allow someone to cheat on them and betray trust. Not to mention, 2 happy separate parents are better than 2 miserable married ones. Also, your husband is the a-hole. He seriously went out, left his children unattended, cheated, and got so drunk he actually thought you would believe his "I fell asleep at 7:35. Like you wouldn't know he wasn't there? Either he thinks you are about as smart as a box of rocks, or he actually is. Just shows another way he doesn't respect you or your intelligence. Not the a-hole. I would be seeing a lawyer. He was responsible for the kids and basically abandoned them to get drunk and be with another woman. He's cheating on you. Nothing about this is mild or a mistake. He made a choice to do this, gain some self-respect, and kick him to the curb. He's not a good guy. Update. Am I the a-hole for kicking my partner out after she told me to stop seeing my daughter? Original post. My girlfriend, 22 female, and I, 24 male, have been together for just under a year now. A few days ago, she asked if we could talk, and I immediately feared she wanted to break up. However, after our conversation, it was not what I expected at all. A bit of background. I have 2 daughters, ages 4 and 2. I became a single dad when I was 20, just a few months after my first daughter was born. Her mother left us, and I've been raising her on my own ever since. About a year or so later, I met my second ex-partner. She was very pregnant and, like me, was facing the reality of being a single mom soon. Her baby daddy had left her and their daughter, leaving her with no support. We were together for almost 2 years and became a blended family. During that time, I raised our youngest daughter as my own, loving and caring for her as such. Both of my daughters are daddy's girls, and I cherish our relationship. I've never once second-guessed my role as her father. Unfortunately, my ex-partner struggled with mental health issues, including BPD and bipolar disorder, which eventually led to infidelity. Despite our attempts at couples counseling, I realized I couldn't continue the relationship. We split amicably, but I made a promise to my youngest daughter that I would always be there for her, and I fully intend to keep that promise. She spends weekends with me and occasionally stays a few days during the week, and this has been a constant for over a year. Now, fast forward to the present. I met my current partner shortly after that breakup, around a month later. Honestly, it was supposed to be a casual fling, but we hit it off so well that we ended up spending the whole night talking, playing games, and getting to know each other. We didn't go beyond kissing, but it felt great. From the start, I was open about my situation, being a single father to 2 girls, and the unique relationship with my youngest daughter. At the time, she seemed fine with it and didn't bring it up again. During our recent talk, she expressed that she's uncomfortable with the fact that I'm still involved in my daughter's life and my ex's life. She said that it's emotionally ignorant and unfair to her that I continue this relationship. And in her words, you can't possibly love her as much as your actual daughter. She's not even yours. This really hit me hard, and I admit I didn't handle it well. It turned into shouting on both sides, and I told her to leave my house. The crappy part was both my kids were in their rooms and heard the whole thing. I really hope they heard hardly anything or nothing at all. It was probably the first time they've ever seen me like that. She said she went to stay with her sister, and now everyone is messaging me, from her friends and family, backing my partner's opinion that she isn't even mine, and questioning why I care so much about her. Thankfully, my family's on my side and are doing their best to support me emotionally, but it's hard as they live in another state. My mother and stepdad are planning on flying in this coming weekend to help out, which is the best news I've heard all day. Honestly, I'm really confused right now. Am I being unreasonable or unfair? I'm struggling to process my emotions and don't know what to do next. Note, I should also add that my ex and I remain decent friends, and she is a great mother to our youngest daughter. However, my oldest daughter's mother is currently MIA and has been for some time. She is not in the picture. My youngest daughter's mother is a great mom but works as a flight attendant and has for a few years now, so that's the only reason my daughter stays with me a couple of days a week on some occasions, so she can pick up extra hours when she wants or needs. This only happens 3 to 4 times a month, if that. Mentally, she is much better and is doing her best. We just didn't work out, but she continues to make sure that our daughter will always have me as her daddy. Also, my current girlfriend doesn't live with me, but she does stay a few nights a week, and we go out when I find the time. I haven't heard from her since the incident, which maybe is for the best. When I wrote this, I was definitely trying to word things the best I could, but when upset, words don't really form in the best way. I do not ever plan on leaving my daughter's life. What I was more looking for in answers was whether I was wrong for kicking her out. Should we have talked more about it? I also don't think I jumped into a relationship too fast after my first daughter. It was over a year later, maybe even more, when I met my ex. Then a month later, I met my new girlfriend, which was real fast and probably the quickest I've ever jumped into a relationship. But I really thought we had a great connection. My first daughter's mom was my high school sweetheart. We were together for years and were even each other's first, but after our daughter was born, she completely changed and just decided she had to leave. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Might I suggest gently that you pursue therapy and stay away from relationships for a bit? You're quite young and it's been a series of train wrecks. Focus on yourself and your daughters for a bit. This, you said it more diplomatically than I would have. Not the a-hole OP, but time to focus on raising your kids and stay out of relationships until you seek therapy. This is not a pattern you want your daughters to emulate. Your girlfriend is an a-hole. Take some time and focus on yourself. Also, a piece of advice though, emotionally she might be yours and that is great. However, legally she isn't. If you mean that you want this little girl in your life forever, it might be worth talking to your ex about adoption. Your ex could change her mind and remove your daughter from your life at any time. I'd also maybe consider ensuring his ex of his oldest can't come back and cause issues. I know in my state, a parent can have their parental rights terminated if they have been absent from a child's life for 6 months or longer without financial support, communication, or visitation. There are always some parents who show up years later trying to get custody and are granted some on some level because no one thought they would. Then it causes upheaval for the child. Something to discuss with a lawyer as well. Figure out options. Now for the update. Thank you all for the incredible support after my post went viral. My girls and I are truly grateful. A special thanks to all the parents who stepped up for a child when it wasn't expected. Children often face the harsh realities of broken homes and trauma, and they need our protection. They are innocent and didn't choose to be born into this world, so they need us more than we realize. As parents, we may feel like we're not doing enough or wish we could change things, but the past is behind us, and all we can do is strive to be better. I have legal rights to both of my children. For my oldest, the courts granted me full custody after her mother abandoned her, and I don't receive child support, nor do I want any from her. For my youngest, I have joint guardianship, which is different from adoption or full guardianship, and visitation. Her mother suggested this arrangement since she sees me as her daughter's only father. While adoption isn't possible right now due to her age and our unmarried status, we're safe on that front. The courts typically require a stronger bond before approving adoption, even if we feel differently. During my breakup with my youngest daughter's mother, she deeply regretted her mistake and tried to make amends and continue our relationship. However, I couldn't move past it. Though I still love and care for her as the mother of my child and as a good friend, she has since moved on, but still views me as her child's only father. Despite her mistake, I know she's worked hard to better herself, and I forgave her a long time ago. To be fair, this relationship was the quickest I've ever been in, and it was only my third one in my entire life. My first relationship lasted years, starting when we were both 14. My second came over a year later after going through tough therapy to cope with the challenges of being a single father at such a young age. Moving forward, I plan to focus on therapy, spend time at home with my kids, and work on my small cafe business here in the Valley. For the update, honestly, all of this really blindsided me. Looking back, she seemed perfect. She was always doing little things for me, randomly getting me gifts, and even cooking for me when she stayed over. She'd initiate intimacy every time, and I'd get constant steamy photos from her, so it honestly seemed like she was really happy and content with everything. I thought I'd lucked out and found someone who truly understood me and made me feel valued, but in hindsight, it's clear that people are better at hiding things than we often realize. She clearly wasn't okay with any of it, and I had no idea. It's crazy how someone can put on such a perfect front and seem like a completely different person the next day. Anyway, after my post gained some traction, that same night, I sent a brief text to her saying that I'm sorry for the way she feels, that we aren't right for each other, and that my daughter will always be my daughter, no matter what, because my love for my girls will always be greater than anything else. Later that night, I was just hanging out with my girls watching Moana 2 in my room. We all passed out in bed, thinking it would be a peaceful night. But at 2 a.m., I was woken up by loud banging on my door, which sent a wave of panic through me. I immediately woke up, grabbed my piece, and went to see what was going on. It was my now ex-girlfriend, stumbling drunk and emotional, completely out of control. She was pounding on the door, yelling and crying, and honestly, it terrified me, and probably my kids as well. When I opened the door, there she was, begging to talk and wanting me to hear her out. To make matters worse, my oldest came to the door too, wanting to know what was happening. I quickly told her to watch over her little sister, making sure she was okay while I dealt with the situation. My oldest went into big sister mode, which made me proud in that moment. Realizing that things were probably getting out of hand and that I couldn't get her to calm down, I knew I had to do something. I called the police and explained that my drunk ex was at my door, refusing to leave. In less than 10 minutes, a police car pulled up and they quickly took her into custody. The situation was over just like that, and I haven't heard from her since. The officer suggested I file a restraining order, which I already planned to do after everything that happened. Then just a few hours ago, I got a call from an unknown number. It was a friend of hers asking if I had seen her, and it felt so good to say that her friend was probably in jail, and that she wasn't my responsibility anymore since she wasn't even my blood. That suggestion came from a comment on my last post, and it honestly felt so empowering to finally set that boundary. Now things are starting to calm down, and I can focus on taking care of my kids and myself. I've blocked everyone associated with her and plan on just living for now, doing what I can to be the best dad. Maybe one day I'll show my girls this post if they ever feel alone in this world, to let them know that daddy will always have their back. To my wonderful children, I am proud of you and will always be. No matter who comes into our lives, I will always choose to be your father first and never last. I cannot wait to see what amazing things you do in this world and what amazing things you'll do for others. And when my time eventually comes, know this, you will both always be my greatest achievement. I love you so much. Good for you for sticking up for your daughters and yourself. I hope you all have a wonderful life ahead. Honestly, OP did the right thing. Standing up for your daughters and yourself is so important. I agree he did the right thing. Her showing up drunk like that knowing his daughters were there shows how young and immature she is. In the first post, her wanting to talk to him about his youngest daughter with his kids in the home also showed exactly how immature she is. And of course no empathy for not caring about his bond with his youngest. Good for OP for standing up for his girls. Get cameras for around your house and your car. She'll be back. She's giving off tire slashing vibes. 100%. My first thought also, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and I'm afraid she'll try to hurt him and or his daughters. OP, please take steps to ensure your and your daughter's safety. Funny enough, I do have a camera already, so maybe more is needed. In the moment of things, all I could think was protecting my kids. My mind was racing to intruders, and from where I live, It's something that happens often, so first thing I did was get a camera and an EDC. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go back to my husband after he slapped me? I, 32 female, have been married to 35 male for 5 years, and we have a 3-year-old daughter. We always had a very good relationship. We love each other a lot, but things took a sudden turn. We both work in IT. I make $85,000 a year, and he makes $92,000 a year. Things changed 2 weeks ago. I got a promotion and became a manager, and my salary increased to $135,000 yearly with an additional bonus. When I told him, he was clearly not happy at all. Things started changing. He got upset and asked me not to accept the promotion and to keep working in the same position. I told him I worked so hard to reach this point, that I am very qualified for it, and that we could make good use of the money for our future. He eventually agreed, but on one condition, that I not let anyone know I became a manager or how much I am making. I'm not even sure why he wanted that. He said he just doesn't like others knowing I make more than him. I agreed, just to avoid fights and chaos, because I needed to focus my energy on doing well in my new position. Inside, I was so excited that I couldn't stop myself from telling my sister. I asked her not to tell anyone, but she told my mom and dad. When my parents came over this weekend, they congratulated me, and my husband was shocked and angry. He left the house, and I told my parents he was just upset about something at work. When he came back late that night, he confronted me about why I told my parents. I explained that I only told my sister because I was excited and wanted to feel proud of what I'd achieved. In response, he slapped me so hard that I passed out. When I woke up, he was crying, apologizing, and begging me not to call the cops or tell my family. I was so shocked I couldn't think straight. I didn't want to worry my parents, and for the sake of my daughter, I stayed. He kept apologizing, brought flowers the next morning, and the day went on. But later, he brought up the same topic again, how the family wouldn't respect him the same way now that they knew I was making more than him. He was clearly angry again. While I was playing with my daughter, she started crying because she couldn't find one of her toys. He asked her to be quiet, but she kept crying, and then he slapped her. That was it for me. I took my daughter and went to my parents' house. Since Sunday, I've been at my parents' place. He keeps calling them, crying, saying how sorry he is and how he wants me back and will never do it again. He's literally begging, and now my parents are asking me to give him another chance. He's trying to manipulate everyone with emotions and tears. I'm too afraid to even talk to him. I know he'll hit me again if he gets the chance. My family's now leaning toward his side, thinking I'm trying to break up the home and that I'm overreacting. I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm moving in with my sister for a few days until I figure things out. Edit. I forgot to mention that I only told my parents we had a fight and that he abused and slapped our daughter, but I'm too ashamed to admit he slapped me too. I feel so ashamed even thinking about that moment. After reading most of the comments, I feel like it's time to tell everything and involve the police. I'm going to talk to them soon. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. This isn't a one-time mistake. This is abuse. Please don't go back. Protect yourself and your daughter. The morning after flowers and stuff is called love bombing. Abusers do this. Steps to do now: police, restraining order, divorce, full custody. 100%. If you come back to him, it will end 10 times worse. One slap is too many, and he went way beyond that and will continue to go on. There are so many stories about DV, and they all end the same way if the victim doesn't leave. I know a woman who was beaten within an inch of her life. Her now ex tried to unalive her and their infant daughter one night. He specifically targeted the 2 girls in the house. The only reason they're both alive is because her teenage sons had to stab their own father with kitchen knives until the police showed up. It started with a slap and escalated from there. She needed emergency treatment for broken bones and lacerations. One of her cousins, a dentist, fixed her broken teeth for free. It would have cost thousands. Do not go back. This escalates quickly. Not the a-hole for protecting yourself and your daughter. Now for the update. I had a heartfelt conversation with my parents, laying out every detail of the situation exactly as it happened. My dad was utterly heartbroken. His face expressed the weight of devastation as his emotions poured out. In contrast, my mom took on a more nurturing role, gently trying to soothe my distress. She urged me to take a step back, let the heat of the moment pass, and reconsider the possibility of a second chance. My dad, however, agreed to seek legal counsel and involve the police, showing he's serious about addressing the situation. I appreciate all the support and guidance I've received from everyone. At this moment, it seems clear to me that separating might be the most prudent course of action for my daughter's future.